same as always. I take it by my match and try to do my best. So I don't really set expectations other than play match by match. I think he's very good, so it's gonna be a hard match, but I will try my best to win.
He's good, but why just a race or 실력?
A little bit of both, a little bit of Serral being OP and a little bit of skill. So I think combination. I don't know, it depends. If TY is able to play well, he can win, but other than that, maybe he will lose because Serral plays Eric and Jima. I'm gonna try, I've been practicing really hard for GSL and GSL Race Award, so I hope I can do very well for this tournament and cheer for me.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, it's it's the first time, so yeah, I really want to see how the tournament goes, and yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be fun. Yeah, I think competing in GSL helped me a lot, especially coming to Korea. I think I improved quite a bit, and yeah, I recently won a WCS as well. Yeah, I think it helped quite a bit, yes. Yeah, I kind of wanted to play versus a Korean, but you know, I'm quite confident versus SpeCial since yeah, he's kind of my victim at this point. I'm 5-0 versus him, so yeah, it's fine, I'd say. But like SpeCial is my friend and he's quite funny, so yeah, I didn't want to play him first round. But it is what it is. Thank you guys. I'll always do my best. Playing in Korea is always amazing. Not easy though, because the Koreans are really good. So yeah, I will try my best.
Seoul, Korea, Free Cup Studio, live. 2019, GSL versus the world.
Okay, guys, I got a question for you real quick. Is Reynor the most likable human on Earth?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pretty sure, right?
Yes.
I've never actually seen him not smile, except for like the fake pose pictures. Like
Even the thumbs up there, this kid is just glowing with charisma.
It's ridiculous. It kind of reminds me of Stefano back in the day, where they're like so good and so charismatic and so nice and stuff.
yeah, you either like them or you don't have a functioning brain. Like you have a couple of options there.
I thought you were going to ask me about that SpeCial interview. Jeez, like I know he's been
that
in
was a
Korea
killer.
for a while, but come on, guys.
You know, that's funny because TY is his really close friend.
Yeah.
But that interview was like a Marur Innovation interview, not like a TY interview.
TY's not a balance liner, man.
Yeah.
So where's he learning this from?
Well, he was a Brood War Terran as well, so it's just like a normal, natural progression of things.
Say no more. Mystery's been solved. So apparently he's Reynor's victim. And the stats, when we were looking him up before, certainly tells a story there. SpeCial actually hasn't beaten Reynor in a series since 2017.
Yeah, I love how Reynor said, I'm 5-0 against him. It's like, well, you technically lost the first 3 times you guys ever played. And of course you could say that like Reynor wasn't the real Reynor by then, but it's like, it's kind of funny to start counting when you won the first time. It's like,
right.
Like, yeah, you won the last 5, but before that you did lose 3. But of course, I mean, you have to understand the confidence and that he brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, this is really like a battle of like the young versus the old. I mean, when did we first meet SpeCial? Was he 14 or 13? We were in China doing an event for StarCraft 1.
Oh, yeah, in person, yeah.
And like, he's been in Korea for a long time. I mean, he basically permanently resides here. He's constantly training. But Reynor is just riding this wave of success, and I don't know if SpeCial is going to be able to stop him.
You know, Reynor has won more WCS events this year than Serral did. I mean,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
it is really crazy to say.
And yeah, I mean, it's a tough uphill battle, but I was talking to SpeCial and he told me BCs are bad. When I asked him, like, are you just going to do BCs every game? He's like, they're bad. It's like, well, I don't know what you think about that, guys.
TY says the same thing. Infesta too strong, Neural too strong, but let's get in the game and see how good the strategies of SpeCial are going to be here against this Italian heavyweight. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round of 16, match 7.
In the bottom right here in the blue, the Mexican Terran, he is
Ocean Gaming, SpeCial.
basically a Korean Terran at this point. The amount of years he spent here.
The Beast Terran.
The Beast Terrans.
I haven't heard it that much, actually.
It's been a while. And the top left here, multiple-time WCS circuit winner. This is
Gamers Origin, Reynor.
One of the people on the very, very small list that can actually defeat Serral in a series.
Yep, he's done it more than once by now, also on the moments where it truly matters. We'll see how this goes. I mean, like, obviously, Reynor defeated SpeCial a couple of times recently, especially in the WCS events. Those were big encounters. But it's kind of funny for me, because the very first time, like, obviously, Reynor had an appearance a long, long time ago at a WCS stop back then in Valencia when he was still allowed to play. And then he had to wait. He was kind of pushed to the sidelines. He's like, yeah, you have to wait until you're 16. But then there was this one event called WSG where he was allowed to participate when he was 15. He went to China, he made it through the groups, and it all looked good, and then he played SpeCial in the quarterfinals. And it's like, well, you know, Reynor is really good, but this is going to be tough, right? Especially because SpeCial was kind of on fire back then. And just out of nowhere, 15-year-old Reynor 3-0'd SpeCial on the big stage, a $10,000 match, I believe it was back then. And it's like, all right, to me, that was kind of truly like his coming out party. He's like, all right, I mean, we knew that this kid was going to be good because he showed it when he was like 12 or 13. But like when you're 15, you can travel to China, one of the very few events he was actually eligible to play in. And then you can 3-0, arguably the best Terran player outside of Korea. It's like, all right, this kid is for real.
He is for real. He's a champion for a reason. And he is also the biggest threat to a Terran that will ever leave a lower depot. I've never seen a run by a Reynor go badly, actually. He just always seems to find damage. He always seems to be in the face of the Terran. Always gut checks that defensive capability of the Terran, making sure that they're, you know, if they're not tightened up tighter than a snare drum, he will find an opening, he will find damage, he will kill SCVs and defend at the same time. Not unlike Serral.
Now, there's still one thing that will still stand out for me, and I still stand by that. I am a massive Reynor fanboy, but I don't think he's the best Zerg out there against mech. Gumio showed that more than once. He showed it at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice earlier this year, but he also showed it to us at Aces ROG. Reynor attended that tournament, I mean, it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, I believe, 2 weeks ago, I guess. And it didn't go well for him. We all looked at Reynor as like, all right, how far can he go? Can he stop Serral one more time? Can he defeat Serral in Finland? And it looked good. He was on track. He even took a 1-0 lead. I think it was against Stats or one of the other top Protoses. In the end, he ended up losing the series. It's like, well, that could happen. But then he ended up losing against Gumio as well. Gumio obviously playing mech. Reynor was pretty frustrated with that series. He's like, it's just nobody plays like him, and he's like, I don't even know what kind of a mech this is, you know? Like, we often talk about battle mech or slow mech, and it's like, when you go up against someone like Gumio, it's just like a little bit of everything mech. You just don't really know what's going to hit you. But you also know that SpeCial has been watching these games and can obviously learn a lot from it.
Well, we do actually see a third gas going down for SpeCial, and with the speed overlord of Reynor, this actually does look like a BC opening, even though he's told you that they were bad. You know, it's looking very much like that at the moment. Obviously, the fusion core hasn't been dropped just yet, but he does have those Marines out early to shoot back the Overlord. He's trying to get a tech lab for that starport. He's got a third gas on the way. I mean, if it isn't going to be mech, I don't know what it is here, Rotterdam.
Yeah, and it would make sense to me. Like, I'm not... SpeCial's obviously good enough to win a game with Bio against Reynor, but I think Reynor is an absolute monster against Bio in general. And you also know that he prefers it, so why would you give your opponent, you know, the playstyle that he prefers going up against? Even if you may think like, maybe Bio, maybe mech, you always want to go mech just because Reynor doesn't like it that much. He's been vocal about it in the past, and the results don't lie. I can't even remember the last time I saw Reynor lose against the Bio Terran, but against mech, he drops mechs pretty frequently, actually.
Yeah, very true. I mean, Maru did it to him in WCG as well. Like, it's just
yep.
It's been a bit of a rough style. Of course, Maru is one of those guys. I don't remember the last Zerg he lost to, honestly. Like, Maru's quite good in this matchup. It just seems like you know, Acropolis is the map where Terrans just do this. It's almost predictable at this point. You can almost blind counter it. But of course, you know, you don't want to make too many assumptions. Tournament this high level.
A 4-minute 40-second lair. I find that relatively quick, especially because we know that Reynor in general likes to get evos early on. But we'll keep a close eye on that. This may not necessarily mean anything. Maybe he's just like, all right, I know that I'm going to go up against mech. I know I'm going to go up against BCs most likely. Let's just get Queens and maybe try to get Infestus out as quickly as possible. I like that you brought up the series that Reynor had against Maru a couple of, well, actually roughly a month ago exactly. They went to China for the World Cyber Games. They had a little 4-man tournament. Not a lot of people watched those games, but basically what happened is that Maru made nothing but BCs and Liberators late game. Like early game there was a little bit of battle mech, but it really was more to just buy time and be safe. And at one point it was just nothing but BCs and Liberators. The army looked absolutely ridiculous, and Reynor just didn't know what to do against it. Even when he had 2 days to think about the next series, he still had no answer for that playstyle.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that special is going to do something along those lines as well.
I mean, every Zerg, when they see that BC, they go for
Whoa,
Neural,
whoa,
they go
whoa.
for Infestors.
Hey, there is no there's no bailing
there
nest,
isn't
Maynard.
here.
There's no roach
Suddenly
one either.
Hellbats. This seems unexpected. I mean, Reynor definitely unexpected here. Is not expecting as many Hellbats. Brings up a lot of Queens from the natural. That's still so many Hellbats. Oh, the drones go back there. They're not ready to come in and join this fight.
Oh my goodness, and now the BC
wow.
jumps in as well. 2 Queens go down on the left side. All of the Lings have gone down already, and this is a fantastic start for SpeCial.
This might actually be it if he gets any further than this. Those Hellions are getting closer and closer to that natural. The Queen count's starting to thin out here. His transfusion energy also starting to thin out. And the BC does have a little bit low on those hit points, but it can still tussle, especially with the Hellbat support. Another Queen goes down. 4 of them in tandem. It looks like another transfusion available as well. 7 drones go down. SpeCial does get cleaned up, but the BC lives.
Yeah,
And the
SpeCial's
trade
got
looks really good there for SpeCial.
Yep, he's got a worker advantage now as well, Maynard. He's up 8 workers. To be honest, I'm still kind of impressed with the way that Reynor handled that in the end, because he was not ready for that at all. And 2 Queens were zoned out on the left side, so he just wasn't able to save those anymore. I could have seen a lot of Zergs lose even more there, given the circumstances, but yeah, I think SpeCial is pretty damn pleased with it. He does hit a gnarly supply block though, but a couple of depots are about to finish up.
Yeah, that 101 supply block has the best of us. Another BC coming on in.
There, Maynard.
Another BC coming on in, and that thing is, you know, it's out of tactical jump, but it has a lot of hit points. The other one can also rotate out, of course. Oh, SpeCial, be careful with his BC. Don't lose that to a couple Queens.
Well, might have been on the move command there as well, because it wasn't even firing in the first place. This one takes quite a bit of damage as well against the Spore. The other one is still alive, took some damage. Spire is already more than halfway done, so eventually Reynor is going to be able to get a couple of Corruptors out. And even though SpeCial did quite some economic damage, it does feel like SpeCial is going for a very slow and a longer style of game here. And it's like, yeah, okay, you can be economically ahead early on, and that's nice and all, but it's not that you can really capitalize on it like a minute down the line.
Apart from the Hellbat attack, this is almost exactly how TY played his TDC on this map against Serral. You're starting with the BCs, going straight into +1 attack on the armory rather than +1 armor into tanks. Now, it looks like he's going to throw in some Cyclones as well, but certainly is prioritizing tank production over Cyclone production just to have a bit more of a backbone against Roaches. Because if Reynor does, you know, flood Roaches, Cyclones and Hellions just aren't that great.
And that 5th command center is already going up. And if I think back of those games that Maru had on Reynor, against Reynor in WCG, even on this map as well, without exaggeration, at one point you're looking at close to 30 command centers. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, he had way above 20, above 25 at one point, and I think he peaked at like 32 or 33 command centers. At one point he barely had any SCVs anymore. He had like 12 to 18 SCVs to mine gas. Everything else was mules. And obviously at that point the Terran army becomes ridiculously big. I mean, 180 army supply of Battle Cruiser Liberator. Yeah, Maynard.
Yeah, it's a nightmare for most Zergs out there. The
Nidus.
Liberators really do help you out as well. The Nidus coming down here. No Swarm Hosts, so just going to be a Roach Nidus, I guess, maybe some Queen support.
Yep, I mean, obviously we do have a couple of Corruptors, right? So he can obviously fight the BCs in that way.
Sure.
But that's actually quite interesting, because he's also getting a Baneling Nest. I mean, so by no means is this Nidus like supposed to end the game immediately. But I do really wonder how much Reynor is going to invest in some of these Nidus attacks.
And also, where does the Nidus go? He does have a little bit of vision to the north. The Overlords have been sort of bullied back by those Overlords, and or rather by the BCs, and of course the Cyclones can do that as well.
Now we do actually see 5-6 Swarmos being added, so in the end it is going to be a little bit of Swarmos Nidus, but obviously don't forget that you can always put some Roaches into these Nidus networks as well, and they can show up in the main base. Now where are these Corruptors? Because these Queens are not going to survive forever, so Yamato being used on a couple of them, and the Corruptors show up, and the BCs will get the hell out of there. So that's a nice little free trade there for SpeCial.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of damage on those BCs, so he does have to repair him up, but definitely got the better end of that one. Roach is pushing back this battle mech army of SpeCial. The creep spread on the high ground here, very important for Reynor, and he's definitely done a great job covering it. It's where Terran likes to push. Ooh, getting a little bit too close to those tanks, losing a few of that Roach supply.
I mean, economically, SpeCial has been completely uncontested this game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 88 SCVs at this point, and I don't think he has lost a single SCV, and that's why I think it's always nice in general to play mech against Reynor, because Reynor is an absolute king in doing economic damage with Ling run-bys, with Baneling run-bys, and all that stuff. That's how he loves to play StarCraft. Reynor doesn't like playing games against Terran players that could play close to like 90 SCVs without being able to pick off a single SCV up to this point.
Yeah, he normally gets a lot of harassment done by run-bys and such, but not finding any love in this game. He's barely been on the other side of the map. In comes some Locusts here from Reynor, not going to use them for harassment. He's going to use them to try and get on top of those tanks. And the Roaches and the Corruptors trying to help out for the low ground as well. Even though the Corruptors trying to pick off a Battle Cruiser, it gets really low and he does pick one off. Yamato does connect here. Reynor has a good amount of roaches to fight back against the Hellbats. The tank counter special not really convincing anymore. Reynor gets on top of them and the Corruptors are ruling the skies.
Yeah, that's a really good fight for Reynor there. I think he was very smart not to use those Swarmos on the other side of the map because he really needed those Locusts to fight that army in the first place. And because SpeCial has that many workers, obviously the army is often not that big, especially not if you leave a couple of tanks behind for safety. And Reynor gets a pretty damn good fight in the middle of the map, but he's got to be careful because you can't really fight near planetary fortresses and those missile turrets.
Does pick off another battlecruiser for his troubles at least, which is a pretty nice snipe any day of the week. We've got to switch into Infestors here for Reynor. Now, if SpeCial's done his homework, there is a way to deal with that with the Mass Liberator, like you mentioned. Mara really likes that. This is a nice Locust Wave, by the way. A lot of those factors are in the middle of producing. They need a lift. One gets taken down, so that's a nice pick off there with those Locusts.
Yep, and he's going to get a couple of add-ons as well. Does he get all 4 of them? Yes, he does. I mean, and this is all free damage, of course, in the end. A couple of Corruptors will find his command center on the right top side. Now, this command center can obviously land, but then Caustic Spray could be used, and there is a Nidus network going up right beside us as well. So more BCs on the way, but SpeCial needs extra bases. You look at that gas bank, Maynard, and it's not really there anymore.
No, not really, and everything that's useful for SpeCial does cost a lot of gas. He's making 3 BCs at once, so I think we solved that gas crisis. He's got 900 gas in production right now. And there goes those Locusts of Reynor going for the main base again as those tech labs just finish up. BCs, they're pretty good, but they have a little bit slow single target damage on this auto attack.
Yep, say goodbye to your add-ons once again. Is he even going to get the one on the top side? Yes, he does. Even the starport takes a lot of damage. I think the starport will live, but a few SCVs go down as well. I mean, Reynor is actually getting some really good value out of his Locust.
Absolutely. These Locusts doing a lot more than I would have expected. And considering SpeCial knows that this is happening, you know, he sent some Hellbats down there to deal with the Nidus Worm. Reynor reinforces the Nidus Worm, keeps it alive, and then sends in another juicy wave. Neural is on the way here to help out with those BCs, and this is where things get a little frightening for the Terran. As the BCs can become the Zergs, and then Yamato each other, or a tactical jump into the Zergs anti-air. Baneling's looking to connect here with the Battlemech army, SpeCial on top of it though, microing everything back.
Not that many Cyclones though, right? So it's actually really hard to make your way through those roaches. In the end, there is one tank that's going to be the backup for safety as well. He's rebuilding his barracks. I guess one of the barracks did get sniped by the Corruptors or something, and now he's forced to remake that. Well,
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The only barracks that was out on the map actually did get killed by the Corruptors before. Caustic Spray damage is insane when it ramps up. That base just evaporates. SpeCial gets rid of this Nidus Worm. But Reynor is still really dominating this side of the map. He's just not giving SpeCial any breathing room.
I gotta be pretty damn impressed with the way Reynor is doing this. I didn't like his start that much, but he's handling all of this so well. Snipe the orbital command, gets a kill on that command center as well. Gets 12 or 13 even SCVs for his efforts on top of this, all of this. And SpeCial really needs to get extra bases, because SpeCial wants to build very expensive units. Well, you need extra refineries for that. Does get a hatchery, so that's nice, but I'm starting to get a little bit worried here for a Terran player.
Yeah, it's a nice pickoff, but it might be a little bit inconsequential here because this army of Reynor looks very, very technical and very, very hard to stop. Lots of Corruptors still alive, lots of energy on the Infestors as well, and a SpeCial tactical jumps on top of this Corruptors or overextends with the BCs, and he will very likely lose them. Doesn't really have any Liberators. He's replenishing the tank count and the Hellion count, and the Hellions and the tanks are going to be very, very handy against this army, but how does he actually stop Reynor from doing more damage with these run-bys and with this harassment with the swarm hosts?
Yeah, the Infestor count is not that high though yet, right?
Not yet.
That's like the only thing that SpeCial kind of still has, and obviously he's maxed out and he's starting to build a little bit of a bank once again. Let's see if these battle crews can get some good damage done. I'm kind of surprised that Reynor just made a whole bunch of links. I guess he just wants to get a couple Banelings out there, but his hatchery is actually in a lot of trouble and it's going to go down. And I don't even know if that's enough Corruptors. I don't think you can fight that.
No, and Reynor agrees with you, man. He pulls back with all of his units there. The Corruptors are going to come forward with the Infestors. Then it's different. And Neural can be cast from underground, but they tactical jump before the Neural connects.
That's so cool.
Whoa.
I mean, it's a game of seconds, Maynard. Sometimes half a second or even less.
Milliseconds. Oh, man. Double Spire here from Reynor. So a switch, or rather Greater Spire with his first Spire, and then a second one on the way here for those air upgrades. So he really wants to get, you know, some heavily upgraded Corruptors and potentially Broodlords going forward as well, so he can crack the Terran's defensive line. Hellions running in for some drone damage. They find half a dozen right there. It's like both players on the other side of the map. Oh, Infestor's locking down those Hellions, but it looks like a wave of Locusts is about to fire out here on that side of the map as well. SpeCial in the main base with the Hellbats here, looking for some serious damage.
Yep, should absolutely be able to get a few more drones and Infestor even pops. A couple of links do go down. And I guess that's about it for now. I don't think the Locusts this time were able to get that much done, because there's a lot of BCs here. They are able to reveal these Swarm Hosts as well. A couple of Misters, sure, they go down, but this Planetary Fortress should always live, as long as you repair it for a little bit. Yeah, That's gonna be fine. I mean, obviously Reynor did a lot of things very right, but I look at his army right now, and I don't think he's building like an invincible army, right? The infested count actually feels kind of underwhelming to me. I think it's at 8 at this point or something, 8 to 9.
And there's definitely like, you know, when you start to see 20 plus infestors in these games sometimes, it makes you wonder if he needs more here.
I think
He's still prioritizing more like air units. He's actually making more corruptors here, so instead of making the spellcasters, he wants actual fighting units.
Yeah, I mean, the BC count is getting high, so obviously I do get it. And Reynor is kind of looking for maybe a couple of those neurals and then win a fight very, very convincingly. SpeCial's getting a little fancy. A lot of battle cruisers on the top side of the map, snipes another hatchery. And he's also sending 2 battle cruisers to the left bottom side of the map. I mean, these are moves you don't see super often with these very expensive units. Look at those 2 spires. Look at those 2 spires right next to each other. There's a couple of Yamatos.
Oh, does he even need the Yamatos? The DPS here is pretty insane. Those BCs about to even have plus to attack. Great Aspire is about to go down here. Always going for the Corruptors. Okay, Great Aspire does go down. He loses the Carapace upgrade. And then it just pieces on out of there. So the Great Aspire going down does kind of suck.
A lot of bases going down.
Oh, that's even worse here for Reynor.
Reynor's a 4-base Zerg right now, Maynard.
Yeah, this is really bad for Reynor here. These multiple attacks with these BCs for SpeCial have really found the damage.
Yep, this is actually really cool. It's not something you see super often. In general, players kind of hesitant to split up these super expensive units, but SpeCial's done a very good job in avoiding these infestors, and you can see that it's kind of idling in the middle of the map. They have not been able to land these neuros that you look for. And Reynor now making a couple of links once again, just wants to get a couple of Banes somewhere to do the economic damage that he's looking for. I mean, he might be able to prevent this. Where are the Corruptors? Are they close?
I think the Corruptors are actually in the middle of the map here, just over the creep spread.
I do like that they burrow the Zergling there. Makes it at least a little bit harder for that command center to just land again. I mean, the fight is still going to be the most important thing, but you got to be impressed with the way that SpeCial handled the last few minutes in this game.
Reynor's about to have triple Spire here. He remade a couple after thinking the other 2 would go down. Nice Liberator harassment here from SpeCial.
No advanced ballistics yet, right?
No, he does have it. Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
It has a different color pew.
Yeah, I know, it's a little bit thicker in general. It's a little bit more white. I noticed that, but this time it was hard to see. It's obviously a very important upgrade, even though he doesn't have that many yet, but it's going to come in very handy. Ooh, look at all those SCVs on the top side.
Yeah, that's a juicy SCV transfer right there. If Reynor can connect with that one. Oh, so many BCs in this army. Where are these Locusts going? Looks like they want some tanks on the bottom side. Well, the SCVs are going to go down to Banelings. There we go. Nice little bit of damage there, yeah.
Yeah, and SpeCial only having 50 SCVs at this point, not being maxed out. I mean, obviously, I don't mind having 50 SCVs if you have this many orbitals and you already have most of your infrastructure in place. But, you know, there's no massive bank, right? There are often games where we think of a massive bank. I mean, the BC count just feels so freaking high. Now 5 more Liberators being added, by the way. I really like it.
Yeah, this is how Terrans going this style actually managed to deal with the late game infestors. They start to push back the infestors with the liberation zones and also kill the infested Terrans. Couple Neurals going down. He didn't get the Yamatos off the infestors in time. And the Corruptor count is really high, Roddy. Damn, they're actually doing all right against these BCs and Neurals all over the place.
The tanks are just not doing anything on the left side. Finally, they're on siege, but they're a little bit late to the party. A lot of BCs are ready to fight again, though. Reynor has been losing a lot of supply. The Roaches and Ravagers show up on the left side, but I don't think that's going to be enough. And I never really saw the infested Terrans come into place because the infested count simply wasn't there.
And this fight actually goes pretty bad for Reynor. SpeCial keeping a lot of these BCs alive. I mean, it actually looked like a bit of a trade. Both players lost a lot of resources there. But the point is that SpeCial's army still stands. He didn't have that mech army completely reset. Reynor lost a lot of infestors, lost a lot of corruptors, tons of supply and resources going down for both players, and it's not like Reynor has a ton of bank to work with either.
He actually lost all the infestors, so now he's remaking 4 of them, but I mean, when a Zerg player is hovering around 170 supply and is also starting to add more and more Roaches into the mix, while the Terran player has a lot of VCs and Liberators.
Yeah, it's not comfortable.
Nope, that's often a bad sign. SpeCial has just done such a damn good job in sniping these bases with all the battle cruisers over and over again and dealing the economic damage that Reynor was desperately looking for, and meanwhile SpeCial very casually just got all the damage.
He certainly did. His run by has been finding damage every now and then. This one, not so much. Well, some of the Swarm Hosts going to get taken down, and I mean, Reynor really doesn't want to spend more resources on more Swarm Hosts, losing 4 or 5 of them there as they retreat. He did manage to get some Broodlords, which is great, but considering the BC count is still pretty high, and he does have Yamato, they do have to kind of wait their turn to be able to actually push back the Siege Tanks, or rather the Cyclones and the Hellbats of SpeCial. And keep in mind that these Liberators as well, so if the Infestor count does get higher for Reynor, And it's still not that convincing. That's when these Liberators really shine.
Yep, and obviously, like, we don't often talk about upgrades too much in this phase in the game because the spellcasters are so important, but yeah, 1-1 on the air units for Reynor, it's just kind of underwhelming, right? And he doesn't have the money anymore. After losing those Spires, he just simply doesn't have the money to refire or restart those upgrades. The battles have been very expensive, and at one phase in the game, we're suddenly like, he's a 4-base Zerg. Like, that's unbelievable. Normally Zerg has like 7, 8, 9 bases, you know, they're everywhere. SpeCial just did a really good job in shutting down the additional bases.
Certainly did. I mean, Reynor has 3 Spires and he can't upgrade on any single one of them. Because of his resource count. Quite right there. Ooh, there's quite a few tanks in the low ground. Roach Ravager Force high enough though to push it back a little bit. Just trades for both players.
Well, Reynor, I mean, these are fights that are just simply not that impactful. SpeCial is close to maxing out once again. He's trying to secure an additional base. I had a little chat with Reynor. I was like, how are you feeling? He's like confident. He's like very, very confident. But so far, I feel like it's all been SpeCial. This was just a kind of game where I really feel it's almost the blueprint on how to beat Reynor, right? Are you going to beat Reynor playing really cool, like marine tank stuff? It's like, yeah, maybe, but it's really hard. But with this kind of stuff, you often do see Reynor make a lot of good moves, but then also 1 or 2 really bad moves that suddenly pushes the Terran player very far ahead.
Look at this air unit count for SpeCial. That Sky Terran army is absolutely insane.
You know what he can do right now that's really cool? It's just like teleport on top of the Zerg army and then all the Liberators show up as backup. It's so cool.
Cover them with freedom.
Yeah, it's really, really fun to watch. I saw Maru did it a couple times looking at his screen. I'm like, yeah, it looks ridiculous. I mean, this base is going to get shut down, so that's very nice for Reynor, but it really feels like the fight we're about to witness is not much of a fight, Maynard. Look at his army. Come on, there are Lings and Roaches against this army.
And these Liberators got +3 attack, and he only has +1 carapace. So if Reynor actually doesn't have that many infestors, he can actually just A-move these these Liberators and do a pretty convincing amount of splash damage to the air army of Reynor, rather, the Corruptor count.
Yeah, if the Corruptors clump up, it's gonna be very, very
lights
bad.
out.
Yeah. I mean, look at his army and be like, yeah. I mean, we see now 1 Viper being added as well. These drones are going to be in for a tough time. A couple of them are going to get picked up. That's a lot of Liberators being sieged up. I mean, Reynor's 155 army supply, or 1 supply total, rather, 1 or 2 army supply. It's simply not enough, especially because the units he has, then it's just not powerful enough.
SpeCial's looking so good here. His army is just better, straight up. Like, we're not not beating around the bush here. His army is better than Reynor's. Reynor's been trying to make a sort of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He does have some spellcasters in his army. He does have a good number of corruptors and also some broodlords as well, but he just doesn't have the supply. SpeCial's maxed out. He's been maxed out forever, and he's also had 3-3 for what feels like forever as well on his ground and air units. And when they fight, they are going to be hitting way harder.
Yep, scan being used. A couple of Cyclones being annoying on the left side as well. You look at all these Liberators, like, you want to spawn infested Terrans? Go ahead, sir.
Go for it.
Yep, let's see how long they live.
It'll be the best 50 energy you ever spent. Every single one of those. So yeah, send them out. Let's go.
Slowly but steady, and we're just going to see some Yamatos probably. I mean, with a couple of Vipers, it obviously can be quite nice for Reynor to abduct units 1 by 1, but, you know, I'm a massive fan of Reynor, but I do always feel if there's still one thing in which he lacks a little bit, I think it's the combination of Vipers and Infestors. Obviously, he knows how to use some of the most powerful late-game units of Zerg, but I think when it comes to using both those spellcasters combined, there is still some work to do.
Yeah, it does seem like he just feels a little bit uncomfortable against this style still. SpeCial, though, very confident. Coming forward with that army. A yoink on that BC, but Tactical jumps it back to safety. They're all on cooldown here. They're ready to just jump out of harm's way.
I think SpeCial can actually just A-move. Like, he can literally jump forward and go for all the Liberators. But also understand he's playing it safe. He's getting a couple of extra Ravens as well. And he's just trying to secure 1 more base. Obviously, we have information on all the numbers. SpeCial does not. He also has probably lost games where he felt like, I cannot lose this game anymore. And then suddenly the Infestors show up, the entire army against Nurut. It's like, all right, is this it? And then sometimes that can actually be it. So it makes perfect sense on such a big stage to play it safe. But SpeCial is in a phenomenal position.
He's just trying to get further ahead. He knows that he is definitely already ahead. Another base in the bottom left. This base has already gone down once or twice.
I mean, look at these BCs. They're doing some good damage.
Are they actually losing hit points? I'm actually watching their health bars right now. It's like, okay, yeah, that one on the left a little bit.
Is it going to jump out?
It doesn't have tactical jump in time.
Let's see, this one can, though.
Yep.
This one can. We'll see if SpeCial decides to... maybe the fact that Reynor has to send so many units here, you can maybe use some of that freedom on the other side of the map. move around a little bit. But Reynor's still just running around with lings and roaches, but it really feels that, you know, this is like when time travel clashes and there is a war going on in the 18th century and in the 21st century. It's like, well, you guys got some great technology over there.
Yeah, the knights show up on horses and then some guys with automatic machine guns just mow them all down. That is kind of the situation here with SpeCial, but definitely being the guy with the machine gun. He comes and runs forward. I mean, Reynor does have this army. It's just to the north side of SpeCial's.
This is a
nice little run by. Yeah, that's very, very good. But does he actually get rid of this army, though, is the big question in my mind.
Yep. I mean, the Liberator count is high. It's not super high. The Broodlord's actually doing some good economic damage as well on the other side of the map, but it seems like SpeCial finally had a little bit enough of it. He's going to find one more Spire, so that's going to be a very easy pickup as well. Gets a lot of these Overlords. Now Reynor is supply blocked, and Reynor doesn't really have the money to rebuild all of this stuff, losing now another hatchery as well.
These Broodlords just bringing up the tail end here, but what do they help against?
Parasitic
Everything's
bomb?
in the sky.
Yeah, everything.
Nice Parasitic Bomb. That's actually connecting with so many units here.
Is there one in the Liberators as well? Yes, there is. Oh my goodness, there was one Parasitic Bomb in the middle of all these Liberators that did a lot of damage.
Yeah, it certainly did. I don't care about the armor upgrades. It is a spell.
A few more of those, Maynard, and maybe the dream is alive.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
He's clumping all of them up once again. You can just land another Parasitic Bomb on top of those Liberators, and I think all of them will go down. Mules being dropped to repair the army. I actually think that's very smart.
Reynor does have energy for these Parasitic Bombs that you want.
I would love to see one more. Imagine one more on top of all this.
That cluster right there.
You get all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, SpeCial does still have a bank. He can rebuild a couple of these units, but I mean, that mech army definitely took a little bit of a beating. I love this Spire. Oh, can I get a Spire up? Nope.
Nope. And it gets cancelled. So Reynor desperately trying to get this base up and get it secured. SpeCial making sure that it doesn't get up without a fight. Reynor going for a counterattack here against the Planetary. It doesn't actually have SCVs on the repair here. Just starts to turn around, but Reynor's denied all the surface area, so this Planetary is going to go down by the looks of things.
Yeah, that's
nice pick off there.
Yeah, with roaches and links, you don't really expect to get that much done there. Fungal whiffs. I mean, SpeCial has to be careful, right? Because this army is actually super scary, super expensive, rather. I love how Reynor's like getting a lair right now. It's like, feels so awkward, right? 28 minutes into the game. He's like, I've lost everything I used to have, so I'm going to try to rebuild a little bit. Reynor still has a big army. Can he land another big Parasitic Bomb? He lands 2 of them, but these units were not actually siege. It's a little bit easier this time for SpeCial to avoid some of the damage, even though that Viking is just like casually chilling on top of the other 7 Liberators. Traitor Viking. Uh-oh, a scan would be massive here.
Oh, even just the splash damage is actually getting a few of these drones here. They're actually inside the splash damage of those Hellbats there. Oh, looking like he wants to catch a couple of these Vipers. Yeah, they get targeted down.
And you can rebuild those. I mean, there's no hive. That's actually really well done by SpeCial.
Yeah, that's a big moment here. I mean, Reynor's just trying to get his lair up in the bottom left, and that's a very hurt lair as well. It's already very low on hit points. SpeCial very oversaturated up here to the north, but of course he still has that bank. Anti-armor missile on these units, but doesn't look like SpeCial can capitalize just yet.
Still has to be a bit careful against these infestors, and it does make sense. Obviously, all of these infestors are pretty much maxed out on energy, so a lot of fungals are available. The count is not super high, but I mean, there's still plenty of infested Terrans potentially. Fungal does land on a couple of these units. The Corrupt is coming in as well. This is it, Maynard.
That's going to be the last fight in the game. Infested Terrans getting pushed out here for Reynor. Anti-armor missile and absolutely everything Reynor has here on the low ground. Infested Terrans also being shot out here, but the Liberation Zones are cutting through them slowly but surely. The Corrupt account high enough to still cut through those battlecruiser numbers, but reinforcements from SpeCial taking up that flank on the right-hand side, and the Terror just has too much. GG!
Excellent, excellent game by SpeCial, I'd say. Reynor felt very confident before this best of 5, and he has won the last 5 official encounters against SpeCial. But in this first game, that's the blueprint to beat Reynor in this matchup. I really think it is. SpeCial is obviously a real student of the game. He's somebody who always watches a lot of other Terran players, talks to a lot of the other Korean Terran players as well. And this is like the one thing that I really feel that Reynor does not love about StarCraft 2. He loves everything, but he doesn't like playing these kind of games.
He does seem to struggle against mech. We've seen it time and time again, and just even that one game minutes ago, it just seems to not have a convincing response to it. I don't know how else to say it.
It's funny because I feel like he did a lot of things right until at one point he suddenly just lost 3 bases in the blink of an eye, and it's like, Maynard, he's a 4-base Zerg that doesn't really have a crazy bank, and the infestor count, it just never felt it, right? It's like, yeah, 6-7 infestors, it was cool. He was looking for a fungal here and there, or maybe a neuroparasite on one of those expensive units, but we have seen so many other Zergs. They have 20+ infestors, and that's where I think like a lot of those armies from Terran really struggle with, but yeah, the 6-7, it was never enough.
Certainly. Well, let's get into map number 2 here and see if Reynor can tie it up. Let's get in there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the bottom left here in the blue, currently up in the series, he is
Ocean Gaming. SpeCial.
plenty of fans here in the studio.
Well, like Nick and Dan said, basically a resident of South Korea at this point.
Basically. And in the top right here, the visitor looking to try and do some damage up on the stage. He is
Gamers Origin. Reynor.
Of course, Reynor is no stranger to the stage here in Africa TV. Actually managed to knockout classic from the GSL on his 16th birthday.
That was an amazing game. The game on Lost and Found.
Yeah, that was
One
the
of
best
my-
CVP I've seen in like forever at that point.
Honestly, one of my all-time favorite experiences, like just sitting at home. You know how sometimes like you have a lot of different experiences, right, as a StarCraft fan. Like sometimes you're really into it, sometimes you're just kind of zoning out, sometimes you have it on your second monitor. And I still remember so vividly me sitting in my little chair, you know, feet on the desk, be like, all right, Reynor, like give us a good show. And like it was just a roller coaster of emotions. Like he's got it, no, he doesn't. Oh my God, he's so dead. No, maybe there's hope. I mean, Reynor against Classic on Lost and Found back then. If you guys have never seen that game, you have to check it out.
Lost and Found had so many good games on it. This build from SpeCial, by the way, the double Reaper opening with the wall-off. I mean, yes, he's in the bottom left, which means the add-ons are going to be on the outside, but it's not actually a wall-off that usually has add-ons because you bring everything back in the main before you switch over into the next phase of the build. And this is exactly what TY did against Serral in this map. So it really just seems like SpeCial and TY, once again, sharing builds.
Yeah, it's not the first time, right?
No, won't be the last either.
Yeah, it's been like that for quite some time. That's a very funky Overlord, right? I feel like some games we're getting like the nil skins, and then some games we're not. And it's often like back and forth, right? It's only one race.
They usually give it to one race, yeah. Yep.
It's really kind of cool. These drones look pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Cerberus skin. I learned the skin names from down in Rotterdam, so
You're so good, man.
I'm all set for the lore questions. Like,
Try to become a WCS caster, man.
and then someone on Twitter's like, Maynard, what is Cerberus? I'm like, anyway, this TVZ.
It's so funny, right? There's a lot of official names. It's just like, yeah, things have been like in a certain way for such a long time. It's like Zergling Speed, Observer Speed. It's like, what's the official name? It's like,
anyway, this Reaper.
Yeah.
Reaper trying to pay the Reaper tax here, get some of those link kills. Nice control from Reynor, keeping those Hurtlings to the backside, except for that one time.
Yeah. Queen actually gets bounced back. One drone is a little bit exposed, but Reynor does do a good job in saving it. A lot of additional links on the way for Reynor. Reynor's taking this very seriously. Look at how many links he's getting, Maynard.
Yeah, a lot of links. Not going to go down the roach path. When you get enough links out, you certainly can be fine.
Yep.
Serral.
Reapers are going to be annoying. Good job there. Well done saving that one. Zergling Speed more than halfway down. First drone does finally go down.
SpeCial's pulling back with these Reapers here. One of the most powerful things about New Repugnancy is you have so many cliffs in the main, the natural as well, for these Reapers to really dart around and be annoying for the Zerg. They just slip through their fingers every time. Another drone kill, forcing another Spore here. A third drone kill, and then he can just leave to the south of this natural.
Yep.
Peace! See ya!
SpeCial obviously knows the timing of Zergling Speed very, very well. 4 drones have gone down, and Reynor make a lot of Zerglings as well. So it's not just the fact that, you know, SpeCial gets a couple of drone kills, it's also they forced out that many units. Now Reynor is going to try to go up to 3 bases almost immediately here, knowing that these Reapers will most likely head home. And of course, SpeCial's expanders a little bit later. This is just like a solid start for SpeCial. Don't want to get too carried away. This game is not over or something.
No.
Wow, that's a very fast fusion core, by the way.
Certainly is. You know, this is a fair bit of BC action for a guy that told you, you know, about half an hour ago that he hates the BC.
He's like, BC suck.
I'm gonna make the carriers look, gonna make the casters look dumb, haha.
Whoa,
Oh, this
Roach
Overlord.
one as well.
Yeah,
Maybe Reynor a little bit terrified after what happened in that previous game with all the Hellbats suddenly showing up. Let's not forget about the start, right? Like, I think SpeCial technically had a pretty damn good start on Acropolis.
Yeah, you got a lot of drone damage there.
Yeah.
And killed queens as well as a lot of lings.
A lot of lost mining time, so Reynor wants to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Certainly not.
And obviously, I mean, whenever there's a Roach Warren, you know, and a player that hates going up against mech, I'm always like, are we going to see him do something feisty? Is he going to suddenly build a bunch of Roaches and Ravages? Because I think back of like Reynor against HeRoMaRinE on Kingscope, the most recent WCS, And didn't he just run to the other side of the map? And
I mean, yeah, I keep saying it time and time again when I cast from home and when I cast here at this tournament, one of the strongest things you do against a BC build is actually just attack with a lot of roaches.
yeah, well,
You can't really stop it. You have Hellions on the ground, in this case a handful of Reapers as well.
yeah, but the timings are very different now, right? Because of this,
It definitely is, yeah.
of the Reaper opening. And I mean, obviously we saw Serral try a similar thing as well on Acropolis, and that didn't really work out. I mean, the Reapers and Hellbats just bought so much time that by the time that those Roaches actually made it to the other side of the map, that BC was almost out. And I was like, well, you know, I don't really believe in a Roach attack if the Battlecruiser's out. I think once again, SpeCial's actually playing a very clean and strong early game. And for SpeCial, I think it's all about not falling too far behind, because I think he's very confident. He's like, all right, the longer these games go, if I can make it, you know, up to 4 bases, I'll often get my 5th. And from that point on, I would say it's like weapons ready, let's dance for SpeCial, because he wants to play those super long and drawn out games. And I like that he's playing mech as well, you know, it's just like, well, Bio's pretty good on this map. No, if you play against Reynor, honestly, the best thing you can do is play mech, because Reynor against Bio, he's an absolute stud.
And there's extra couple factories as the Armory get close to position. And Ling's looking for that opening, but the depots go up, and that's a lot of Hellions, so Reynor losing quite a few Lings for free there. And now SpeCial ready to march across the map. He's about to be able to turn them into Hellbats as well. While Reynor has some Lings here waiting, SpeCial's BC is going to be drawing his attention to the main base, while SpeCial looks to target down a third with these Hellbats and Reapers.
Yeah, there's a couple of Roaches this time as well. Sport Run, a lot of Queens. This BC is going to take so much damage.
Yeah, that actually
I know it's
may go
tanky
down
and all,
here.
but...
Oh, the Queens are kind of stuck on each other, so maybe the BC will escape to the left.
Yeah.
Looks like it will.
Wow, look at these Hellbats actually getting quite close to these Roaches. A couple of drones feel very exposed on the top side there. Battlecruiser runs into that Sport Crawler, but I know it still has a little bit of HP. Oh my goodness.
God.
That Queen, if that Queen would have run towards the north side, 10 drones did go down there, and that Battlecruiser survives.
How did that go so well for SpeCial? It felt like everything was about to turn on his head there, but he does get a dozen drones. Reynor still, of course, has the worker lead, and SpeCial's attack did need to do damage, which it certainly did, but Reynor doesn't have to worry about BC for the minute. There's a while before the second one's done. The other one way too low in hit points to cut dart back in anywhere near creep, as a Queen could just sneeze on it, and it will go down.
What would you like to see from Reynor right now? I'm actually like kind of confused. He's building more Queens and more Roaches. He's just gonna attack. I mean, he's getting Overlord speed as well, so he could maybe pick up a couple of these Queens and fly to the other side of the map. Is Reynor just going for it? Did he have enough?
He may be. You get enough Ravages up and enough Queens up, and all of a sudden you definitely can take the fight here against the Terran.
I think that's what he's gonna do, Maynard. I really think Reynor had enough, and I think he just wants to punish SpeCial. Obviously, the army is quite big. The Reapers, how much do they see? Is this a tell?
I mean, I love it, man. If he goes for it, I think it's very, very strong. I think it's going to work out pretty well for this Queen's trying to in on that second, more healthy Battlecruiser. This one Reaper somehow finds its way into the main. He's going to get another drone kill. Reynor.
Do we have tanks? Like, how many tanks are out? I see a tank is in production, but I have the feeling we don't have that many tanks yet. And I feel like that's quite a big Zerg army. A couple of Overlords helping with that creep highway as well. But those two tanks on the high ground, though, it's going to get hard to get in range of those. That's why I'd love to see some Drop-A-Lord play. Like, imagine if you fly like 4 Roaches into the main base and drop them on top of those tanks.
Yeah, well, the Queens are getting closer and closer. They're kind of busy with this barracks at the moment. As Reynor reinforces this push. You see, he's not droning behind this. This is pretty all in from Reynor.
Yep, he has a massive army, but can he get on top of these tanks? Imagine if he loses that Overseer, he loses high ground vision. I almost think it's worth Yamatoing the Overseer. I know it sounds crazy, but...
Yeah, well, he's going to have it in a second. Getting rid of high ground, I agree with you, Roddy. That's a really, really big deal.
I wouldn't mind it at all. Kenny Yamato, the Overseer, it would be massive. Because then those two tanks are never going to go down.
Oh, Hellions even finding some drone damage here as Reynor's got all of his eggs in the basket over here at the third base. The Queens on the front line, they get Yamato down.
I don't like how this is going at all for Reynor. It really feels like it's all a bit too slow, too indecisive. Look at the tank count. We've got 4 tanks. These BCs are still going strong as well.
Yeah, he's actually missing the Biles and the tanks as well. They are still alive and they're still killing Roaches. Reynor's getting pushed further and further back. Overseer is gone. And
he can't kill those tanks. Reynor's is going to lose everything over here, Maynard.
That's right. I mean, yes, he's doing damage, but it needed to be a kill move, Roddy, and it's not a kill move.
No, this is nowhere near enough. Doesn't even get that tank that's fully surrounded. All of these Queens are going to go down as well, and SpeCial is very close to taking a 2-0 lead over Reynor here. Reynor might stick in this game a little bit longer, but he's got almost nothing. He's barely got anti-air, I think.
Yeah, these 2 Queens coming fresh from those hatcheries, a third one on the way, but these BCs can't be stopped, man. These drones got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The Greeks going in for that natural. The BCs, even though they're damaged from earlier, still have Yamato off cooldown. Spore Crawler definitely not going to be enough here. That Queen, not enough energy to be a part of the fight. These tanks are still here at the third base. These Roaches still not finding critical damage. There's a 6th tank coming in to reinforce.
Yeah.
He is starting to get some tank kills, but again, he cannot crack the defensive special. And these BCs also, while one gets very, very low, will just seal the deal here. And SpeCial, with a 2-0 lead, already on match point against a guy that's been really beating him up for the past couple of years.
Yep, Reynor has won the last 5 official encounters between these two, but today it's all been Juanito so far. He's just playing very well. I think his openings are good, the unit control is on point, he's scouting, he's identifying. I mean, look at that tank positioning there in the end, just like, it felt that he kind of knew that this was going to come. And I must say, like, I feel like Reynor maybe could have done slightly better. Like, if you want to go for an attack like that, I had the feeling he wanted to create like a creep highway, right? It's like, well, he had 4 overlords just kind of standing next to each other.
On top of each other, and just get pushed back by the battle cruisers.
Yep, that wasn't even much of a highway to begin with. And I also feel it's like, you know, if there are going to be tanks on the high ground, you either need to get in there right on top of it, take them out with corrosive balls, maybe bring multiple overseers or try to get like a dropper lord or something, you know, just like anything to really push the issue, because obviously every second that goes by is a very good one for Terran there and a very bad one for Zerg, and it just felt everything was way too slow from Reynor's side.
Well, he'll need to get faster and more furious here because he has got 1 life left in this tournament, and it is going to be on Thunderbird. A reverse sweep, the only way he sticks in here. Let's get into it, guys.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the bottom right here in the blue, he's been beaten up overseas, but Korea is his home. This is
Ocean Gaming, SpeCial.
It's gonna be feeling so good right now. It's not there yet, but it's looking really, really good.
just one more map if he can just not make any more mistakes against this kid in the top left, the little warrior himself from Italy. He is
Gamers Origin, Reynor.
It's been an absolute fantastic 2019 so far for Reynor. Of course, it all started with him winning WCS Winter. He also won the big WCS Summer in Kiev just 2 months ago, I believe it was. Then won a couple of little tournaments here and there as well. Won a tournament in Italy last month, the second season of the Clash StarCraft 2 Invitational. So all around, it's all good. Took second place in WCG after Maru. I mean, that was a nice little $15,000 victory, I believe, for him in the end.
Casual 15 grand.
Yeah, you know, like, so the kid has absolutely been doing amazing, but I'm sure that he would love to do well here in Korea. It's obviously a prestigious event. You know, it's funny, right? Because a lot of it's like, oh, it's an all-star exhibition tournament. It's like all of these guys take it so serious. There's a lot of money on the line, of course, and it's just like, it's memorable. These kind of games are all very memorable. Like, you ask me anything about the games from last year, it's like, you know, that was cool and that was cool and that was a bit lackluster, but it's just a tournament that really stands out. And I also feel like last year, if you think of Serral, right, like a lot of people still had their doubts about Serral. It's like, yeah, he's winning those WCS events and he did all right in Katowice, but you know, how good is he really? Can he really bring it out against like the best Korean players? And after Serral won GSL versus the world, suddenly everyone was on board, right? Or at least almost everyone. Some people still thought, like, it's your weekend tournament, it's not the same, you know?
No. I remember you believed in Serral before GSL vs. the World, but it was after GSL vs. the World where I was like, you know what? I'm beginning to believe. I think we might have a non-Korean world champion, and it did happen.
And a lot of things, of course, are very similar when you think of like Serral and Reynor, but yeah, other than Serral had a very strong start to GSL vs. the World last year, and Reynor is not having it yet.
Not yet.
Thunderbird also a map that's pretty damn good in general, right?
Yeah, very, very big map. Hugest rush distance you can possibly get in the ladder pool or in the map pool.
Also another great map for run-bys and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's really only one entrance until you knock down the mineral patches here, and I wonder if SpeCial goes for something similar to what TY did, considering the last two games where he has basically been doing what TY does.
Yep.
You know, where he went for that push with Marine Tank over at that mineral blocker at the third base, where Reynor usually will get the third. Now, SpeCial does change things up. He hasn't played any bio games just yet. It's just been BC mech after BC mech.
Yeah, but once again, like, I think that's the correct choice. Even if he might feel confident with a bio build on this map, just don't do it, man. Like, when you play Bio against Reynor, you're unleashing something you really don't want to unleash in that kid. He's so incredibly good. Like, I generally believe that if you're a massive Reynor fan, right, and you watch all of his games, if somebody really wants to convince me that when it comes to like the first 8 to 10 minutes of StarCraft 2 in general, that you think Reynor is the best player in the world, I'm not going to say that that's a fact, but Reynor is incredibly good in almost everything that's normal and standard about early game StarCraft. It's just this one thing that he doesn't like playing against, and that's going up against mech openings. Like, you put him against Bio, like also when it goes up against like all these crazy Protoss pushes, I think he's so good in dismantling them. ZVZ early on, I mean, he's as good as anyone out there. But yeah, SpeCial is right now bringing out something that Reynor is not very good against. And yeah, why would you stop it? It would make absolutely no sense to suddenly be right now, you know what, let's play some Bio, see how it goes.
Well, he hasn't got the third gas in the natural just yet, and does have the Viking coming out first, so at the moment it doesn't look like Battle Cruiser are opening, but the Overlords, like Reynor's been getting Overlord speed every single game here. To try and keep tabs on SpeCial's builds, but the Viking can still punish.
And it's kind of frustrating, right? Because you lose an Overlord and you still don't know what you're what you're going up against. There's a couple extra Hellions on the way. I mean, there is a tech lab right next to that.
Next to the starport, yeah.
Maybe it's going to be some Banshee stuff. We'll see. That's a Roach one, a very early one over here.
Quite quick Roach Warren. And the Armory does get plopped here. Is it medevac here? I'm just wondering, just wait and see what happens with the starport. It's kind of really going to tell us what's happening.
Maybe some, maybe a Liberator. I mean, he doesn't need a tech lab for that, but we'll see. We will see what SpeCial decides to do. I mean, we did see TY bring out like one build with Speed Banshees, right?
Yep, that's right.
Often
on,
if TY
King's Cove.
I think he was going to land a factory down right next to it, yeah? Whoa, okay.
All right. So forget starport units.
Yep.
Straight to the third factory.
He's like, all I need is a Viking. Push away a couple of those Overlords, keep my opponent in the dark.
And he's getting +1 attack for Bio with this as well, Rotterdam.
Almost, that must be to fake him out, because he's getting a second armory there as well, right? Or is that still the first?
That's still the first armory.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think he's almost hoping that the Overlord flies in. This is so weird. I mean,
what if he makes Marauders with this?
Yeah, I mean, that could be, right? To tag a couple of those queens. We've seen it in the past, but I feel like those builds hit a little bit quicker. I don't know. I think it's just trying to fake him out.
Bamboozle.
Yeah. Marines. But I mean, all of the extra factories have been revealed now.
Are you convinced that the +1 attack on the engineering bay is real when you see 3 factories, Rotterdam?
I don't know what to believe anymore after watching these games. I don't know. That's very weird. I mean, like, yes, the Marauder thing that you brought up is obviously, that's a real thing. There were a couple of very cool builds for Terran players out there where you get like 2 or 3 Marauders with concussive shells and medevac, and then you can slow down the queens, and then the Hellbats can get right on top of the queens. That's cool stuff, but normally you don't get +1 with that, and obviously that was supposed to already hit by now. I think it's just a mistake. I don't know.
As he starts Stim.
Okay, well, okay, he's just doing it all. What?
This is a hybrid between Bio and Mech here. I haven't seen this in so long. I think HeRoMaRinE
now he's
did
building
something similar.
4 extra barracks.
Yeah.
All right.
I literally have never seen this before from out of SpeCial. So this is something very, very new. Or very, very old.
But look at Reynor. He's actually getting Evo, like double Evo. He's getting melee and carapace. For a long time, Reynor actually was convinced that he could play against BattleMech with Lingbane Muda. And a couple of the Europeans made fun of him. These roaches.
I remember that series.
Yeah.
The Roach is getting a lot of damage from the Cyclones, and the Hellions helping out a little bit here. Reynor pulling back the safety of the creep and the safety of the Queens.
It'd be massive for Reynor to get one more Overlord into the main base right now, because there is Stim on the way, there is +1 on the way, there are 4 extra barracks on the way. The infestation bit goes down. I don't think Reynor is really aware of it yet, but he's also getting Baneling speed, so we'll see. I mean, a couple of extra links. Oh, this Overseer, this could be so massive, but it doesn't get in there. I don't think he knows, Maynard.
Speedy, even the speedy Overseer, one of the fastest things you could possibly send in the Terran's Bane, gets taken down there by those Cyclones.
It would probably be better to send it in from the left bottom side, right?
This is so cool from SpeCial. I'm so excited right now to see how effective this could potentially be. I actually am just sitting here. I'm with all you guys out there in chat land. I'm just waiting to see what happens. I honestly don't know. I'm the expert. I'm supposed to be the expert, but I honestly just haven't seen this before. Blue Flame on these Hellions with Cyclones, and also upgraded Bio being amassed with Stim on double engineering bay for SpeCial.
It's really, it's like a little bit of everything. The only thing I'm slightly worried about here for SpeCial is that you know, he's down 11 workers, and I don't think he has picked off a single drone yet in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Burrow's being used. A couple of Swarmos are being built, and Swarmos obviously are not going to be great against the bio, but they can still help out a little bit against this like medium-sized battle mech army. 2 extra barracks is going down as well.
I remember back in Valencia, HeRoMaRinE did something, I think it might have been against Serral, where he tried to go for mech opening into bio to try and punish the Swarm host transition.
Yeah. No, it was Valencia last year, right?
Yeah, Valencia last year.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's something that SpeCial's going for here.
It was really funny because I'm not sure if it's that game exactly, but I remember like talking about that series. And people are like, yeah, it's really good because you force out the Swarmos, and then like the bio shows up with Stim and it's really good. But then the Swarmos just always kill the Terran. It's like you're forcing out the unit that's killing you. It's like, well, yeah, that's not supposed to happen, you know? Like Oh, it was so funny.
I mean, it looked good on paper, right? It just didn't look good in practice.
They're like, no, it's really sick. You force it on Swarmos. I'm like, yeah, but the Swarmos keeps killing him. It's like, yeah, but that's not supposed to happen. It's like, oh, come on. But yeah, it seems indeed like most similar to that indeed.
So a battle mech opening into just a bio tank transition, but he's also getting drilling claws for Widow Mines.
I
so
mean,
he
like,
has 2 factories.
The thing is, like, Reynor is about to really find out, right? Like, he's gonna see battle mech, and now he's gonna see Stim, and he's like, oh my goodness. He's like, you got Stim now. Obviously, Spire is being built. Helmet's finding these Nidus network, by the way. That's massive. Now, SpeCial obviously wants to get feisty over here. He's maxed out. Where are these Swarmos? Reynor, like, if he cleans it up once, I actually think that Reynor still has all the opportunity in the world, but it's going to be hard to get a good fight there. He does have those Swarmos on the top side.
Yeah, Swarm hosts have those locusts. There's a lot of Swarm hosts too.
Yep. And but Marines can obviously gun down the locust, right? Quite quickly.
I think that's the whole goal here for these Marines, SpeCial, and they also have 2-1 upgrades. So these Marines also do a lot of DPS.
There's Widow Mines with Drilling Claws there as well. Like you mentioned before, I don't see that many Overseers here. This is going to be really cool, Maynard. Can Reynor do it? He's going to be very careful. This is hard to engage into.
Oh, he actually doesn't even get 1 tank with that Locust Wave. That was every single Locust from his Swarm host Rotterdam.
But I think it's smart that he just gives up this base. Reynor's maxed out. He's got money in the bank, like fighting up this ramp here against all the Widow Mines, all the tanks that are set up. I think it's the right choice. But now he's still thinking about it. I feel like if you lost the base already, there's no point in doing this anymore.
I think the longer he waits, the worse it's going to get here for Reynor. He's trying to get some more Banelings, which definitely will help him out with that bio count. But there is still a nasty tank count and Widow Mines here if SpeCial needs to pull all the way back.
Well, SpeCial just lost a bunch of Marines, though. I mean, I really don't see any use in taking a bad fight there. Like, all of the tanks siege up, the Widow Mines are in place, like, that base is gone. Reynor's got plenty of bases to begin with. There is simply no need.
This is very nice. There is some bio here, but there is a lot of Broodlings, or rather the Locusts, so they cut through that bio very, very easily. They turn their attention onto that Planetary. Oh, the Baneling connection is actually quite nice here from Reynor, getting a lot of the Marines. The Rogers and Ravagers also cutting through a little bit of that Battle Mech army. The tank count's still quite scary, and on that high ground as well. Ooh, very close to losing that Planetary.
Yeah, he keeps it alive. I don't know, man. I'm not really feeling it for SpeCial. Like, yeah, he got a base, but now I look at the bank of Reynor. I look at everything that Reynor has. He's up 10 workers. He's getting a great Aspire. Like, he lost a base, okay, but he's still a 4-base Zerg. Even though this 4-base not totally up. Oh, that's the 5th, actually.
I could really see the strategy working, but it seems like, you know, Reynor's, well, I guess his playstyle against mech just sort of kind of does the job as well.
He played different this game, though. Like, in Juanito's defense, this was a different Reynor. Because there was this double Evo, there was melee Carapace. Like, he didn't get melee and Carapace in the other games. Oh, that's a lot of tanks going down.
Nice.
Like, if you know, to be fair, right? In the other games, it was mostly just like either no evolution chambers at all, quick infestors, quick spire, that kind of stuff, corruptor. Like this game, it was actually a bit different.
SpeCial getting a couple of those Banelings before they finish morphing here. Actually, most of those Banelings before they finish morphing there.
Not that many medevacs and not that much energy on those 2 medevacs either. And look at all those Marines. And obviously the tanks are getting close, but that Great Aspire is almost done. And I feel like the SpeCial is not close enough to applying enough pressure. The only thing that can kind of work out for SpeCial is that the Swarmos still take up a lot of supply, right? But they can obviously be useful.
1 tank goes down. Oh, the Baneling's getting very close to the pile here. And also the Locust on the left-hand side. SpeCial's bio army caught between a Zerg and a hard place. Just to pick up and pull back to the safety of those tanks.
You know, that actually sort of worked out in the end for SpeCial, even though it looked super dire and nasty. But the Great Aspire is done, Maynard. Yep. Broodlords are about to show up, and what does SpeCial have that's good against Broodlords?
One Viking.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, that's
you answered my question, mate.
I mean, if the Marines get under the Broodlords, of course, they can take them out, but a player as good as Reynor will very rarely offer that opportunity to the Terran. Oh, actually, yeah, all right. The Widow Mine's getting a little bit of free damage there on those Swarm hosts, killing a couple of them, but the Bio's going to come in here and finish them off. Reynor needs to react quick if he wants to save these.
Yeah, that's a bit sloppy, but I think it's kind of You know, the time of the swarm was kind of gone anyway.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I really don't mind it that much.
It was a lot of supply. He was close to maxed. You would rather have, you know, some more Broodlords, more Roaches and Lingenbane here.
Reynor a little bit late because, you know, the greatest fire is already done. So I think that Reynor could have been done as well. But once again, man, these are the kind of games like Reynor's like, it's like StarCraft, I've missed you. This is the game that Reynor loves. And even though Juanito's still definitely making some stuff happen and he's applying some pressure, I don't know if it's going to be enough.
This is looking better and better for Reynor here. He is starting to really hold the reins here in this game. Some WidowMine harassment with Drilling Claws and to get a few drones. It's always nice. Killed 12 actually. A little bit of his damage from the bio as well.
Yeah, I think the Liberator got a couple kills. Still a couple drones going down somewhere. One matter of fact drop. Why is there a Banshee on the production tab, Maynard?
I don't know. That actually doesn't really help him against much at all. And maybe he wants it for harassment. I don't know.
No,
like it just doesn't make sense in a fight against these units of Reynor.
This has been a crazy game. Now 6 Infestors on the way as well. Reynor almost finishing up +3. I mean, we don't have Ultras this time. We gotta be careful with these links. Still, Thunderbird is kind of a hard map, right? To go for a lot of run-bys. 4 Liberators on the way, Advanced Ballistics on the way as well. All right, I felt like SpeCial was in a very tough spot. Now it's starting to look a little bit better. He has a lot of tanks here, but the Lings are gonna try to collapse on top of all of these tanks.
And it looks like he's getting most of them as well. The bio got pushed way back there, leaving an opening. Oh, some nice WidowMine harassment and another dozen and a bit drones going down. And a nice Ling run by here by Reynor, also doing some income damage, but not nearly as enough just yet. The Broodlords coming in for the north side. SpeCial has no answer to these Broodlords at all. He has to leave.
I'm actually surprised with how passive Reynor has been with his Broodlords, right? Like maybe he's been a bit confused about this game and didn't know exactly the position that he was in. So he's like, all right, I don't want to get too feisty with my Broodlords and see them like just go down on the other side of the map because I can't protect them. But he kind of gave a lot of time to SpeCial, and now slowly but steady, this game is actually starting to look better and better for the Terran. While a while ago, it really felt that SpeCial didn't have much to work with. These two mines will grab a few more drone kills. Reynor is no longer in that solid 80 count of drones.
Oh, certainly not. This is starting to get better and better. The 3-3 is about to be done on the bio here. The tanks already have +3 attack. They hit very, very hard. SpeCial starting Ghost Academy production here so we can get up towards, you know, potentially snipes, nukes, that sort of thing. And Liberator production going to be definitely a focus here as Advanced Ballistics is about to finish up.
I think that's a key upgrade, right? Like I always feel like whenever the Terran is maxed out and has Advanced Ballistics, there is absolutely a chance. I mean, I know Reynor's kind of broke, but I'm sure that he'd love like a couple of Ultras if that was a possibility. Liberators is so scary. One Infestor does go down. Fungal does connect, though. I mean, SpeCial's going to lose a lot of units here.
He certainly is. Fungal's getting on the bio and on the Vikings as well. Infested Terrans also joining in the mix. Not much energy on these Infestors at all. And the Broodlords are getting in range of the bio. The Marines and even that Viking I was talking about before coming into that fight and actually helping out quite a bit for SpeCial. He's killed the Broodlords, Roddy. He's getting the Infestors as well.
Wow. SpeCial's actually just collapsing on his army and he's getting almost everything. Reynor was busy counterattacking, did not have an answer, did not really have any anti-air at all to deal with those Liberators. And like I said, as long as there's Liberators, there's always a lot of hope. And yeah, that was not just a good fight for SpeCial, that was an absolutely fantastic fight.
That was incredible. The Lings are coming in for Reynor to try and help out with his bio, but it feels like the damage might already be done. SpeCial up a good chunk of army supply here. The Baneley's coming in and connecting to the north side, but the rest of the army of SpeCial joining in. Looks like he's rallying across the map here. Pulls back to the tanks, back to the liberation zones. The Vikings also ruling the skies. These Broodlords of Reynor are just not safe. They don't have Corruptor coverage. They don't have Hydras. Nothing to stop these Vikings from picking off those Broodlords.
I mean, Reynor just doesn't have much at all anymore, right? I mean, he's going to burrow a couple of these Ravages there. They're going to have to be run away. I mean, he's trying to rebuild some Lings, but that's just not going to be enough anymore. The Liberator is simply just a little too much to deal with. And it felt that Reynor had this game in the bag at one point, or at least it felt like he really was starting to take control of it. He had attack advantage, but he gave time to SpeCial, and SpeCial truly capitalized on it.
SpeCial says in Game 3, who is the victim now, as he is on the precipice of a 3-0 against the Italian stallion that's been dominating WCS, knocking him out of these tournaments one after another. SpeCial, though, he's going to be the one to knock Reynor out of GSL versus the world as he starts to march on through that death push. Reynor holding on, but just with Dregs here. He has nothing convincing to stop this Terran attack. GG! SpeCial with a 3-0 victory.
Last 5 times it was all Reynor. This time it was all SpeCial, and he did it in such a damn cool way as well, right? He had the mech builds, and in that final game, he gave us a little bit of bio in the end. He may have opened up with some good old battle mech, but he just went for that full-on bio switch. We saw it a while ago, it never really worked out. Today it worked out in an absolute phenomenal way. What a performance by SpeCial.
Great stuff, great games, fun stuff. Let's go to the stage without Victor, SpeCial, and HeRoMaRinE.
What a convincing performance from SpeCial. Congratulations. 사실 제가 전적을 보니까 다전제에서는 레이너 선수와 5연패를 하셨더라고요. 근데 오늘 너무 깔끔하게 경기를 이기셨는데 이게 한국에서 경기란 게 영향이 있었나요? Well, congratulations for your qualification. Actually, I watched your head-to-head record and you lost the 5 last years against Reynor. Do you think like the fact that we were playing in Korea affected you in the good way?
Well, the fact that I have time to prepare for a tournament, it's so much better for Terran compared to just play like straight away. Because I normally never have time to prepare when I play him, but this time I felt a little more confident because I had lots of time to prepare. So I feel that benefits Terran a lot more than the other two races.
이번에는 준비할 시간이 많이 있어서 훨씬 더 자신감이 있었고요. 그렇게 준비를 잘했던 게 관건이었던 것 같습니다. 사실 스페셜 선수가 한국 선수라고 해도 어색하지 않잖아요. 지금 GSL 선수 중에 이제 8강 올라간 테란 선수는 스페셜밖에 없는데 한마디 부탁드려요. You know, we could almost say that you're from Team Korea, right? And you're the only Terran from GSL to qualify for the next round. Can you say something about that?
I don't know. I guess I can be considered Korean because I live here, but I'm not Korean, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I will ask TY and Myro for tips so I can win my next round as well.
제가 한국 선수라고 말할 수 있는지 모르겠는데 제가 전태환 선수와 조성주 선수에게 좀 조언을 물어보겠습니다. 네, 지금 사실 최연소 선수랑 이제 경기를 해서 이기셨는데 다음 라운드는 최고령 이제 클래식 선수 아니면 펜타 선수를 만나게 되는데 누가 올라올 것 같나요? So you just won against the youngest player, Reynor. But next, you will go against the oldest. It's going to be either classic or fantasy. Who would you rather face?
I played fantasy in my first round in GSL round of 16, so I think I would rather play classic. And besides, I'm very good friends with classic, and it will be fun to play against him, I think.
제가 클래식 선수와 정말 좋은 친구기도 하고 사실 전명호 선수는 제가 GSL 16강에서 만나기 때문에 클래식 선수와 만났으면 좋겠습니다. Well, congratulations again and thank you for the interview. So we'll be back with the last match of the day. 저희는 잠시 후 마지막 경기로 돌아오겠습니다.
Sweat your